This week's episode of Amped Up TV is brought to you by Viewers IQ. Please help support the show by filling out our survey at ampedup.tv/survey. And thanks for your support. We couldn't do it without you.
This is That One Guy. You're watching Amped Up TV.
Just because we can, it don't mean that we should. And just cause it's modern, don't mean it smells good. Function over form, fiction over pain. And just because it's chrome, don't mean it won't change. Sing the story, the top, the devil, what they say. Jingle the bell, the banana, only the funny one kind of knows the way. Putting the pieces with the pies, everybody comes to the body, it seems. End of the day, it's all everybody corrupted by the blood machine.
Welcome to another special episode of Amped Up TV. I'm Evan, and we're here with That One Guy. Is that your real name?
It is.
It is. Awesome. So you're here in Winnipeg. I know you've been here, Folk Fest, more in the summer. How are you experiencing this minus 30 Celsius for you American viewers out there, minus 22 Fahrenheit? How's that for you?
It's pretty dang cold. I mean, California is, we don't have winters like this.
Nice. Yeah. You took school music out there in California. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. I went to music school for a couple of years. Didn't finish, but came close. Studied classical double bass and orchestration and played jazz for a living for a while. I also studied jazz in school for a little bit. I was a double bass player, always a double bass major. And that's where my roots are musically for sure.
Cool. Well, the big question is the magic pipe.
Yes, sir.
What can you tell us about the magic pipe?
It's rooted from what I was doing on the bass. It's a string instrument primarily. It's got two strings. One's a very low bass subsonic string. One's sort of my melody. I can bow pluck the melody string, and then there's trigger sensors all over it that I'm hitting with my hands that activate samples that I make banging on cans and breaking light bulbs and things, and those all go into this whole sampling matrix that I put together that also includes a sort of a signal routing matrix for the strings that runs it through all kinds of effects pedals and processors and things, and it's just this big hodgepodge of different technologies basically.
That's cool. It's kind of like Foley work.
Yeah.
I've read actually a lot of comparisons to movies. People have said that your creation was like Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, or Kubrick even has been mentioned. Can you tell us about any of your inspirations movie-wise or anything like that, and how that fits into your work?
Oh, for sure. I mean, Kubrick's a huge one. Everything he's ever done, I'm a fan of for the most part. And The Shining, and the 2001's a real big one for me. And I love orchestration, sort of cinematic orchestration. Always have, and I've always kind of wanted to be a one-man orchestra in a way. In addition to being sort of a one-man funk band and rock band and stuff, I kind of like to be an orchestra and sort of create kind of broad sounds and bigger sounds with what I'm doing. And I love the way music in movies creates moods and takes you on an adventure, and I'm trying to sort of do that too.
Cool. That's cool. So when you came up with, or when you were in the process of creating the magic pipe, was it the sounds, was it the ideas that came first, or was it the magic pipe that came first? Like sort of what, the chicken and the egg, what came first, music or the instrument?
The sounds, for sure. I was definitely chasing a sound and chasing an idea. Technically, initially I had no clue what I was going to do, how I was going to make the instrument. It sort of built itself based on this idea that I was chasing, which was to say the strings and the percussion aspect of it. And so, it's piece by piece, it's found its own shape. It sort of took its own shape.
Has anyone approached you about wanting to use it? Can you teach this instrument to anyone else?
Yeah, there's been a few people asking me to do that kind of thing and build one and that kind of thing. It's such a custom instrument for the way I play technically that I always tell people, if they want to do a custom instrument, start with what you have already and try to think of what you wish it could do and build it off of that. I mean, that's what I did with the bass. This is an extension of what I was dissatisfied with on the bass. I wanted more sounds, and so it's so technical. It's so technically sort of specialized for my technique. I'd say if someone else wanted to do something like this, sort of take the same approach but find your own way. So you can kind of take it as far as you can, because you'll go a lot farther because it'll be based on your own strengths versus my own strengths, which are probably their own weird, quirky sort of set of techniques that I have,
Cool. I've read that you've been on an episode of The Weeds. You've worked with Tom Waits. Can you tell me a little bit of how that's affected your career at all?
Well, like the Tom Waits thing affected me just personally because I'm a huge fan, and it was really incredible to meet him and get to work a little bit with him. It was just one day, but I got to play a couple cuts on the Orphans collection, and just to get to watch him cut a vocal track and stuff like that was super huge for me because I've been a fan since I was a kid. And that was more just personally, just like very inspiring. And then the Weeds thing was just a total fluke. I mean, the writer saw a gig that I'd done and took the CD back to the music supervisor, and they just thought this one song seemed to fit this scene really well. And it's a great show, and so it worked out really well. And the way they used the song was really hilarious and really funny. So it's kind of fun when music sort of finds its own way to something kind of neat like that versus being placed by a company or something. I kind of felt lucky because it just sort of worked out, and that helped a lot. I mean, that was really widely seen, and the team was getting a lot of exposure in sort of a part of the industry that I maybe wouldn't have had.
Cool. You're on a tour right now. It looks like you've started up on the tour. How's it going so far? How's the audience reacting?
I'm really good. I just did the West Coast of the States and the whole Northwest and everything, and every show's been awesome. It's been the best shows I've had, really. And I kind of came across the prairies and did, Idaho through Montana and all that, and up through Fargo and came up to Winnipeg here, and so far so good. It's been my best tour yet, across the board. So. Yeah.
You're driving by yourself?
Yeah, in the Subaru Outback by myself. So
nice.
That's simple,
It's awesome. It is definitely that one guy right there.
Weasel pie, pick a little bitch and sing along. Weasel pie, then poke 'em in the stitches till they grimace and moan. Weasel pie, bigger than bricks and sticks and stones. Weasel pie, and poke 'em in the eye with butterfly bones. Oh my, once again with your finger in the weasel pie.
I think I was looking at a lot of your history and sort of where you've progressed with music, and a lot of people say it's a very progressive sound. Do you think music is dead if it doesn't progress?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's always controversial to say that because, genres that sort of exist and are studied like jazz and things that are preserved and played true to their form. I mean, it's good to do that too and sort of appreciate music for what it is, stylistically. And then it's also super important, I think, to break stuff down and to try to make it new. And just because something's different doesn't always mean it's going to be good. I'd say that the most important thing to do is to try to make the music as good as you can make it. And I know that's all subjective too, but for me, I'm trying to do something very that's inside me, and it's a very specific thing that I'm trying to do, and it's not always based on being different. It's more based on just trying to find my own voice, and just try to find my truest sort of aspect of what I do musically. And so it could be an acoustic guitar, it could be the magic pipe. It's more about more about the spirit of what you're doing, I think.
Cool. I was noticing with some of the actions and the way you were playing, is there, I don't know if you can answer this question or not, is there somewhat of a theremin involved with the instrument at all? Like, you use your hands a lot, is there something that you are controlling that is unseen, sort of like radio waves or
There's
whatever?
a lot of proximity stuff. My sampler has a D-beam effect on it, which works just like a theremin. And then the way I'm playing off the triggers with my hands, and the movement of the instrument, it's also creating sort of this visual of sound moving. And so it's sort of a combination of all these things, really. You know. Yeah.
Cool, cool. One question that has been on my mind recently, a lot of, the iTunes is out now, MP3s, CDs, and all that kind of thing, and there's sort of been a revival of vinyl.
Sure.
What's your opinion on vinyl, MP3s, CDs, and that kind of thing?
Oh, vinyl sounds the best always, still, and always will. I personally love having my entire collection on an iPod. I think it's pretty incredible, 'cause especially touring all year long. Just having everything I ever owned on this little box is priceless. So it's hard to say. I say however you want to listen to music is a good way to do it. I'd say the MP3 thing has made me want to buy more music. It's made me want to buy more vinyl and put it on my iPod and do all that stuff. So it's just good. The more tools, the better, and the more music we can all listen to, the better for sure. So.
Cool. Is there anyone you'd want to work with in the future?
God, it's hard to say because I get to just stumble onto these things, and when it happens organically, it seems like it's meant to be. So who knows? We'll see.
If people want to know where they can reach you, where can they find your stuff?
Thatoneguy.com. It's always with the number 1, so it's thatoneguy.com, and my MySpace is thatoneguy, and my Facebook is thatoneguy, and my YouTube is thatoneguy. So, yeah, I'm there. I'm in the world. I'm on the World Wide Web, I guess.
Nice. That's cool. I know I could see in the audience, Winnipeg loves you. We'd love to see you back. I mean, it's been a really, really good show, and it's a really good experience. If you want to check out more of Amped Up TV, where they're going to be next, you can always check out twitter.com/ampeduptv for any upcoming news. Thank you so much. That one guy.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.